gotta be the producer and the sound guy. I gotta be it all since my girls can't make it. Should I offer them double time too? I said on a fucking group chat, I was like, emergency podcast, double
Did
time
you
pay.
really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, because it wasn't on the books.
Yeah.
And then it was just like a spontaneous type of vibe. Let's get right into.
How long ago did you make the logo?
This logo?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably like 2 years ago.
It's crazy. It must have been, yeah, because... Yeah.
It's just coming to fruition now. Yeah, I've always wondered, like... Just get right into it. Yeah. Like, what is it about, like a uppity that you enjoy so much?
What, like caffeine?
Yeah.
Or like whatever?
Yeah, just in general. Like, I've never seen someone be able to drink so many energy drinks in one sitting and kind of just seem unfazed by it. Like,
Yeah.
Are you internally, like...
No, I think I
like
think
your heart's just fucking...
Yeah. So I think I literally thrive off the anxiety. Like,
Okay.
having like the past that I do.
Yeah.
It's almost gets you to a point where like I'll get you. A lot of people feel this too. Like you get tired if you drink too much caffeine.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually a sign of sleep deprivation if you're consuming too much caffeine and then it's making you tired. But, yeah. No,
I could tell you the science behind that, actually.
Yeah, what is it?
So caffeine is an adenosine blocker. Adenosine is like what makes you feel tired.
Yeah.
So when you consume caffeine, it stops your adenosine receptors, and then the minute the caffeine wears off, it floods the receptors.
So caffeine's not actually giving you energy; it's making you less tired.
Yeah.
Oh,
Basically.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's aspects of it too that do give you energy, and if you have sugar inside of it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an adenosine blocker. So like that's why you could drink like a few cups of coffee and then just out of nowhere you just get extremely exhausted because the adenosine just floods your brain.
Yeah, flooded and then stopped.
So, but yeah, it's always interesting to see kind of, I mean, I hope you're open and talk about like your past. I mean, you might have to go in details and shit like that, but is it, I feel like everyone needs a vice or something to kind of, pick them up or just like something to go to. It just seems right now yours is fucking energy drink. So
yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
Depending on what I'm doing, I mean, something like this. Yeah, like a podcast. Going out, like, socially. Like, not drinking anymore. Like, that's what I'm, like, everyone's, like, getting the motion. You know what I mean? They're drinking, they're smoking, so I want that, too. You know what I mean? Just not, I don't want to sit there, like, so.
Yeah.
So
I feel, so I've gone out, like, a couple of times and decided not to drink, and I realized that it's not even going out and drinking that makes you feel comfortable. It's just sitting there talking to people with something in your hand.
Yeah.
So, like, even if, like, I remember Paul and I went out recently, and we drank before, and while we were out, I told the bartender, I was like, bro, just make me some shit that actually looks like a drink.
Yeah.
And I had it in my hand, and it was like this, it was the same effect.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something about just, like, being a part of it and looking like you're actively involved that actually kind of, like, it's fulfilling. I feel like we're pack animals, and we like being a part of something. So to sit there and just be like the odd person out is just, what's the point of going out? You know? So.
No, I feel you. Yeah, that's definitely why, like that night at Kai, I was just fucking whacking back espressos like it was nobody's business. They're like, you sure you want another one? I'm like, yes, I did. I don't care.
So you like the uppities more than, like, for me.
Yeah, I never did nothing. Even when I was in addiction, I would never do anything that made me down.
Yeah.
Like, not intentionally. You'll get down from the come down of something. Naturally, coming down from anything, you're coming down. But not like intentionally. I would take something that would put me down. Even drinking, I never really liked doing alone because socially, it's like uppity. But if you drink alone, you kind of be getting depressed.
Bro, I fucking love drinking alone. Shit's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, yeah, for me, like, there's something about boozing, bro. It's honestly, like, weird to think about, but I've actually had some, like, spiritual experiences while drunk and alone. It's fucking
Really?
weird. Yeah. I feel like when I boost sometimes, it definitely. I mean, in different cultures, they use alcohol to like connect to certain things. I mean, it's called spirits. I actually don't know the background on that, but I think they're called spirits for a reason because I've had some fucking experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, bro, on some Bible shit, like Jesus turning water into wine. You know, like it's like now that I'm actually thinking about it.
Yeah, he did that to meet a need, though.
What, like the need of people to want to get fucked up?
Yeah, well, I don't. Well, I mean, I don't think he really condoned them getting all fucked up, but like that's what he did. Anytime he went into a town and started like he didn't just sit there and just sit down one day and start preaching. Like he went into a town, he started healing first, and then he sat down and gave people the word. Like when he broke the bread and multiplied all the bread and multiplied all the fish, like right after that is when he started bringing the word. He didn't like he met a need first. So at the party, he did that to meet a need. He wasn't like, here's this wine to get fucked up. People were in need, and he met that need.
Bro, that sounds like a good sales tactic.
Yeah,
Not even on some fucked up shit and like disrespect towards it, but it's almost kind of like that's how you sell something too.
right.
Like you meet someone's need and then you just kind of got them in your pocket and you can kind of sell
They're
whatever
open.
you want.
Yeah.
And like I'm not saying that he's selling anything bad, obviously, you know. So
Right.
but yeah, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
wonder what like God's thought on liquor is. I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't approve of the state of the world right now with it.
Yeah, I mean, biblically, like a lot of people have drank, get drunk, and whatnot. The consumption of alcohol is okay, but the indulgence in drunkenness is what's not.
Yeah.
So like drinking biblically isn't really like for me like you got to define sin, right? Like your own moral compass, your own moral transgression, like sin, knowing what's right but doing wrong instead. Sin.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So like to me, drinking's wrong because I'm sober. To somebody else, you can have a beer or a glass of wine and you're not sinning. You know what I mean? So it's like it's different. Like for me, like I know what it would lead to. I know where it brings my mind. I know what it makes me think of. So therefore, I can't do it. I know what's right. I choose wrong instead. Sin. But for other people, they're just like, oh, wine. Like cool.
Yeah.
Like I'll have a glass. I'll have 2 glasses. I'll have 3 glasses. But then biblically, the indulgence in drunkenness, like Noah after the flood and whatnot, plants a vineyard, crushes grapes, makes wine, gets all smashed, and then his kids can't even like look at him because of the laws at that time that God had established. Like they couldn't even see him. Like they had to conceal him because of how exposed he was. He like got drunk and like got all naked and shit.
Jeez.
So,
yeah, bro. I mean, shit, bro. One time you saw me drunk and naked.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, one time I came back from some extravaganza and I thought it was a good idea to like walk into our house smoking a Black and Mild, and then I had some random idea that I needed to fucking take a bath.
Yeah.
Dude, like I hadn't taken a bath like for like over a decade probably. And I fell asleep with the fucking water running.
With the Black and Mild in your hand.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, Mikey came in and saw me butt ass naked and he saved my ass from drowning.
Yep.
Yeah, Yeah, I look back on times like that and it's like equally funny but also just kind of sad. You know, it's like, what the fuck was I doing? But it's funny to laugh about, like, in retrospect, but, like, I could have ended my life that night.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's all a season, dude. Like, where you're at, like, that's not some shit you would do right now.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean? It was just like a season of life, just doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had my weird seasons.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, so to get... Yeah, I definitely, like, I know that you kind of took, like, a different route, and I never really realized, like, how versed you are, like, on the Bible and, like, kind of, like, the stories behind it. So it's always interesting to hear, like, what you have to say about shit like that, because I definitely think, like, I mean, I don't really know what I believe in at this point. I've been going back to, like, Christian church, and I'm trying to find that way. I think growing up Catholic...
It fucks it all up.
Yeah, bro.
Fucks it all up.
Yeah, like growing up Catholic is tough too, and our dad was a computer technician, and he would do jobs for the priests, and they would always have viruses, and it's not doing the Catholic stigma of being fucking pedos and all the shit like that when the priest of your church has a bunch of fucked up
porn on his computer.
Yeah, so
viruses from porn.
Yeah, and then there is definitely like overlap between like Catholic and Christianity.
Yeah.
So it always made it difficult, like from seeing that aspect and then growing up. And I was always kind of like a conspiracy theorist, but as we know now, a lot of the conspiracies that like we thought were conspiracies are actually real fucking life. So
Yeah.
it's tough to navigate. But I guess I'm realizing more is that the more I can kind of, I mean, there's something out there regardless, right? Like,
Right.
like I saw this comedian, and he was talking about, like atheists and people that believe in God. He was like, atheists that believe in nothing. He's like, if all this can come from nothing, that's some magical fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And then
I think it was a Christian comedian actually.
and then he's like, so you come from nothing, and then when you die, you go back to nothing. So you become one with your creator. It's fucking funny.
He's
so
like, that's called Christianity.
yeah, it's fucking funny, man. So yeah, it's definitely hard to navigate too. And I also think that in this day and age, when it's information overload, it's hard to choose a side.
Yeah.
Like you have one person telling you one thing that like you trust and you believe in, and you have someone else saying it, and then someone in the middle saying something, and then it puts you in a place of complacency where I'm kind of content where I am. I know I have to make a move in my life, but there's information overload out there in the world. So where do I go?
Right.
And then you try and take a little from here and a little from here and a little from here.
Yeah.
And then you're still dissatisfied. It's almost kind of better to just say fuck neutrality and choose a path sometimes and kind of stick to it, you know, because like the in between can be very difficult. But there's a lot of teetering in that.
Yeah, no, I think definitely one of the things that I struggle with was that growing up Catholic. A lot of people do. Dude, Catholic churches are some of the biggest churches in the world. Like you go to like St. Kevin's, St. Martha, St. Mary's, all these churches, they're huge, bro. Like they pack what these mega churches are packing. Like they're packing 500, 1,000 people. And then they got another balcony and they're all up doing it. So going over from realizing that like Catholicism is I don't want to say a branch, but like so you got the umbrella of like Christianity. Right, like, so what does it mean to be, like, Lutheran, Pentecostal, Episcopalian, Catholic, Roman Catholic, non-denominational, all that stuff? Like, virtually, like, if you see Jesus Christ as the Son of God, like, and you believe he, like, died and rose again, was crucified for our sins, yada, yada, not to say in a disrespectful way, but you're under the umbrella of Christianity. And the thing about Catholicism, though, is that, like, we were, like, partaking in, like, ritualistic kind of stuff. Like you walk in, like you got to dip your finger in water. You got to like do this,
and you don't even realize it.
No, and you're just, and then you walk over to the center of the church. You have to take a knee before you get in the pupil. During that, you're sitting, standing, kneeling. You all get up together to eat bread at the same time.
Yeah,
and so one of the major teachings from the Catholic Church is that like you got to go to the priest, right? You can't really be forgiven for your sins unless you go to the priest.
Yeah.
And but biblically, like Jesus is the high priest, so we can just go straight to him. We don't need like a middleman anymore. That's why he died. You know what I mean? We don't need a middleman anymore. So going to the whole priest situation, that's just something that isn't even in the Bible that we just do in Catholicism. So, but taking like you have to unlearn stuff. You know what I mean? So like I went into this Pentecostal program I've been here for the last 4 years now, and like all that stuff I had to like slowly unlearn. And then one of the things biblically in Catholicism is you're baptized at birth to meet one of your 7 sacraments, and like that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and hear me out, because baptism is a public declaration of you burying your old life, and if you were just born, what old life do you have to bury?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they said that you're bearing the original sin of the apple and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what Jesus did. You know what I mean? And then to back that up with the scripture, so it's Colossians 2:12-14, and it says that having been buried with him in baptism and raised with him through our faith in the power of God who raised him from the dead, when we were dead in our sins and in the uncircumcision of our sinful nature, Christ died for us. And in that, he forgave us of all of our sins, canceling the written code, which is the Old Testament, with its regulations that was against us and stood opposed to us. He took it away and then nailed it to the cross. And that's pretty much what it says word for word. And so our old flesh, our old blood, what we were in our past, we crucified to the cross along with him and his sins. And what that looks like for each person is different, but like for an infant, it's just non-existent. Like,
yeah, that's deep.
You know what I mean? Like that's not. You don't really. So as an infant, like you're an infant, but like as you start to grow older, like ages like 2, 3, 4. What's crazy is that like you don't have to teach like I don't want to call them negative behaviors, but yeah, like sin, like in a child, right? So a 4-year-old child, like mine. Yeah. Like they just take.
Yeah,
like you have to teach them. Like, dude, that's natural occurring in us. Like that's just sin. Like that's just you live in it. You were born in it. You were conceived in it. But you have to teach them no, share. Because naturally they're just like, fuck, that's mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I want that shit.
Exactly. Like so stealing. You pretty much like fuck, that's mine.
Yeah. Nah, I didn't even look at it like that.
Yeah.
Like you like I think there's like too much kumbaya shit that like goes around it, and like I feel we're human beings living a spiritual experience, or we're fucking spiritual beings living a like human experience, and it's so tough because I feel that we came here to learn lessons and to kind of go through it, and to be able to like get over these things, but I guess something like that, if you don't have good parents, you kind of grow up and you think that these things are kind of fucking normal, actually.
Yeah, right.
So that actually we'll go into like a different point, right?
Yeah.
Because if you go into like a third world country or something different where they're raised in the idea that what they're doing is right, like let's take like a suicide bomber, for instance, right? They were raised to like think that if they go and kill 300 people, that when they die, they're going to get 72 virgins. It's like people like that actually believe that they're doing the right thing.
Right.
And they've been programmed their entire life. Where do you think they stand as far as when they meet their maker, you know?
So the exact same place that we do, or that I do, I'm not sure. You know, we haven't really gone into like exactly what your beliefs are, but like their belief in that is just as real as me sitting across from you right now. Mm-hmm. And their belief in that is just as real as what I believe in, because that's all they've ever known, and anything that they've learned is contradictory to what we believe in. You know what I mean? So it's just as real to them as if like me and you are talking right now. Like they're that convinced, and it's like, so to try and like, and that's a work of God that changes something like that. Like there are people that have, you know, gone from like Muslim to Christianity and vice versa. I've seen it the other way too. And that's just a lack of faith in God, but vice versa now, like starting to develop that curiosity about X, Y, and Z is what triggers that encounter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, we'll never know, but it's like the brain's curiosity. I'm like say if God is real.
Yep.
And this one belief is real. Like, what happens to people like that? Is he like, you know what? Like, you were never brought the word of God, so you get a pass.
All right. You know? So scripturally, during a course of somebody's life, you will never have not had an opportunity to accept God, except for grace. Children are the acceptance. Like a child that never was shown the way or never had the opportunity to be shown the way. Unborn children that were aborted, all of that stuff. Heaven, like they have eternal grace. They're good. But as far as like adults like us, like you will have had the chance at some point in your life to either accept or deny, and it's whatever you chose, you know.
And if you deny, do you think at one point you could then still accept?
That's what's crazy about Christianity, and that turns a lot of people off. Like somebody could be in jail right now for mass murder, and the moment before they die, if they chose to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, like they're accepted into heaven just as me and you would be.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like, shit, I can just be a dickhead my entire life, and then when the time comes, you know, I get
right, but you still got to give an account.
For sure.
You got to give an account of everything that you've done, and how long that conversation is going to be, and where that conversation leads is another.
Yeah, it might happen. Yeah, it might croak before that fucking conversation finishes.
Yeah, so you got to give an account.
What percent of... How do I phrase that better? Because I feel like when I grew up, it was more of like a fear-based religion. You know, you grow up, don't do this because God's going to get mad or you're going to go to hell. So, for me, I think that so many people tune into, religion, or even listening to some bullshit on the news about, I don't want to get into that fucking shit, but everything is so fear-based, right? So I wonder what percent of people actually have true belief versus how many people are believing because they're fearful.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, it's fear that keeps me where I'm at. Once I learned it, because, like, Jesus says it would have been better to have never have known me than to have turned your back on me. So how I view that, right, is that it's too late now. Like, I have to. Like once I learned the way, now I have to stay on it. Because if I stray from it, and then I, let's say something happens and I die straight from it, like,
now you're fucked.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. He literally says that it would have been better to have never have known me than to have turned your back on me, and that's deep. Like,
bro, yeah, because I guess the idea would be, if you know better, then you should do better,
right?
So that's fucking. Yeah, man, religious talk. It's a tough talk these days. I feel that growing up, it was more normal. I mean, we were raised in it, like, but even in schools, it was like you would, like, one nation under God.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot different these days. And I think the more you do research, like, you realize that there's so many different religions and beliefs, and it's like, what the, where do I start? Where do I go to? Right. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
It's actually dwindling, dude, a lot. Like, at one point, Christianity was projected to be, like, the number one religion in everywhere, and all across the United States. And now it's, I think actually, not Hinduism, Muslim.
Yeah.
Yeah, people that are practicing Islam is what's going to be, like, on the rise. You hear about just normal, like, average day Americans that work at 9 to 5 that are like, yeah, like, this is what I'm following now.
So, they believe in Muhammad, correct, or something?
Yeah. Which is actually kind of crazy because,
wanna know what's crazy about that is that I heard Tate talk about this.
Yeah.
And he said, so Islam is the same as being a Muslim, correct?
I'm not exactly. There might be different.
Well, they follow
mild differences.
They follow the Quran, I believe.
Yeah, they follow the Quran.
Yeah, so he said that, like, Islamic nations are becoming the one true religion because in America, you could go around wearing a shirt saying "fuck Jesus."
Yeah,
and he said you can still be in America and you could wear a shirt that says "fuck Muhammad," and people will literally fuck you up for that.
Yeah,
he said no matter where you are. Like, people are going to defend their religion, and that's what makes it tangible and real. Like, if people can shit on your God left and right, then what belief do you have in it, like, to a degree? So, like, do I agree with that? Yeah, kind of. Like, I understand, So, like, if you're willing to... But I think that it kind of goes, like, to your point of that, like, it's becoming the most, I don't know, tangible or popular.
Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, as far as tangibility, like, a lot of Pentecostal non-denominational churches, they have interactions, right? Like, you see people, like, break out in tongues. You see, I mean, I'm not gonna, like, really get too deep into it. You see people flopping around on the floor doing the funky chicken, and it's like, so it would. You already, and the thing is that if you're like in a church that's, like, faking stuff like that, like, then you actually have no faith in God, because now you're denying the fact that He's actually capable of doing those things in you, and now you're faking it because you're saying that He's not capable of it. You know what I mean? So, but as far as tangibility, like, when the average Christian walks into a church and they see, or they hear during praise and worship, there's an eruption of tongues, and then moments later somebody translates it from across the room because nobody knows what they just said. But it's a spiritual gift. They erupted. Now somebody else is erupting in the translation of it. Now you're just a bystander that just is hearing all this stuff.
What the fuck is going on?
Exactly. But it starts to spark something. And you, like, whatever you're feeling, and I don't want to say emotion because you're not let off your emotion. You're let off the spirit. What you're experiencing, what you're feeling, these people in these other religions is exactly, like, they're just as convinced as we are. So, like, where's the tangibility in both parties? Like, who can really have been on one side experienced it and now come to this side and experience it and said like, okay, like I really do think this is the way. And that's what it takes. It takes somebody to be able to say I was on this side of the fence, now I'm on this side of the fence. And the more people that can come out like that and speak up, because there are people that have converted over to Christianity and they can say like hands down, like this is where it's at. But like people need to speak up and say stuff like that. Otherwise we're going to be having more. And I'm not, you can follow what you follow. You know what I mean? Course. At the end of the, like, I just think the thing about Christianity is you're at the end of your life, you're going to spend eternity somewhere. And that's a lot of other religions are just teaching like one ending. They're not teaching a lot about hell. So for Christianity, like you're going to spend eternity somewhere and it's either going to be heaven or hell. We're not going to purgatory or Abraham's bosom or wherever it's referred to in the Bible. You know, like you're either going to hell for the rest of eternity or you're going to heaven. And eternity is a long time. It's fucking eternity. So, so that's what's crazy about following it is like, okay, like what am I going to do now? Like I just learned that. So like a lot of people think Christians are brainwashed, right? And you take the term brainwash and you flip it around like, dude, maybe that's a good thing. I just washed my brain. Like I was just doing some crazy shit on the street, dude. Like, you know, like what I'm doing now, like the guy up in the sky ain't teaching me bad shit. You know what I mean? Like he's turn the other cheek. So what's that mean? If somebody like, you know, fucks with me, give them another chance, and then they fuck with you too much, and then you learn later, cut them off. That's it. Like I don't gotta like show up at the dude's house and shoot him. You know what I mean? Or run in his crib with a bomb, like all that stuff. Like,
but don't you? Because this could just be me. I don't know. Sometimes when I'm put in a situation and I give someone a couple chances, I'm like, I think in my head, and I think that it's real. I'm like, oh, God wants me to hit you. Do you think that's true? But I guess that
I think your thought is true. I think it's
so like that leads to my next question, right? What % of people that are religious do you like that are like, okay, well, God wants me to do this, or God told me to move here, God told me to get like, what % of that do you feel is just them kind of gassing up their own bullshit versus?
That's such a common thing. Like that's all the time. Like God wanted us to do this. God led me to do that. God led me to do this. So, dude, it's so high, the percentage of like, dude, that's like every day I hear that. I hear that every day, and it's really like
every time I hear that, I'm like, did he though?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So I feel like that's an overused expression because, dude, there was 400 years of silence in the Bible, right? So when you end the Old Testament and then you begin the Gospels, there was 400 years of silence between there. So like our God was silent for a whole 400 years, didn't really talk to anybody, or that's how it was perceived because that's how the manuscripts line up. So like when people are every day, we're talking thousands and thousands of people every day, like, oh, God told me to do that. God told me to do that. I'm like, yo, he's like an awful chatty God. Right now, when, you know, just 2,000 years ago, he was, you know, having a 400-year fast on talking to us, you know. So you think about something like that. Take a little break. You think about something like that, and I immediately think of that, and I lower like half the credibility about what these people are saying, and then the other half I consider like he never contradicts himself. So if okay, God calls me to go to church every Sunday. Every Sunday I have to go to church. Not only that, there's 2 services, and I have to serve at them both. And I don't actually really get to sit down and listen to the message because I'm greeting people at the door after that, and I'm passing around beverages. So God never contradicts himself. So if his will is for me to serve at church for 4 hours every Sunday, but then his will is also for me to be a father, and for 2 of those 4 hours, there's like a dire need in my family that needs to be met, according to my children and their wife, and my wife. So what am I going to do? Like, they need to go to karate. I need to take my kids to karate. If I am at church for 4 hours and I can't take my kids to karate anymore, now I'm contradicting the will, right? Because, like, the call is for me to be a father. My children need me to do something that's beneficial to them, so I need to find the balance, right? Okay, I can only do church for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Go serve the other 2 with my kids. And finding the balance is like, important, because a lot of people will be like, yeah, God wants me to do this, but it's going to like strip me from my family. God wants me to do this. I'm going to go to another country and I'm going to, go on missions trips and whatnot. But like my kids are with other relatives because now I have my wife with me out on the mission trip. And it's like, you got to think there's always a balance. Like either that or fuck, take them with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think people tend to choose one extreme or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Like in most cases, if it's either like 2 services or I need to hang out with my kids, most people wouldn't even think, okay, well, I'll do one and then I'll see my kids after. They think it has to be one or the other.
Right.
It's
so black and white for them. There's there's no in between. No, for sure.
Yeah. Plus, I think that most people that don't find the balance also don't want to find the balance.
Right.
It's just the truth of it. Like, so many people hide their like own selfishness in a bunch of bullshit, but I think that the way a lot of people living is just a simple choice that they're making,
Yeah.
Like, they know. They're like, well, I probably could go, but I don't really feel like it, and then it's a long drive. And
I got a full tank of gas. I'm good. I can go. I should go. But, like, I'm just going to, watch it from home.
Yeah.
Especially after COVID, dude, that whole thing, like, went through the roof. People watching church from your house.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or on your couch. You're just, like, watching TV on a screen.
Yeah,
like,
the Christian church that I started to go to does it live every Sunday, so it's this different, like kind of vibe. But do you think that like God has to be worshipped in a place of worship?
No. Worship is also one of those umbrellas that like there's many forms of worship. Like giving and tithing is a form of worship. Praying, praising is a form of worship. No, it can be from the comfort of your own home, like communion. Like you can take communion at your house, with like a piece of bread and some grape juice, whatever. No, that's definitely a common misconception. Like I don't have to be somewhere to feel the presence of God. That's why when you see a lot of churches do altar calls, right? And immediately the altars flood. I think that's awesome, presence of God flowing, everything like that. But like, why do I feel I need to go to the altar? I need to not be led by my emotions, because for the last, 8 years of my life, I'd made dumbass decisions being led by my emotions. So if I feel prompted, I don't want to be like, oh, like, wow, that would feel good if I went to the altar right now. I don't want to be led like that. I want to I want to feel like the moment where I'm like, you need to go, like, and I feel that, then I go. I've been saved for about 4 years now. I've been to the altar like 3 times. That's less than once a year,
Yeah.
And it's because I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, come on down. We're offering forgiveness. That's not how I want to operate my Christian walk. You know what I mean? I don't want to be led like that anymore. So
that's deep.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. And I'm super picky about it too. Praying over people, allowing people to pray over me. I've had people pray some crazy, irrelevant stuff over my life, and mid prayer, I'm like, no disrespect, but please go away. Yeah, no, like, dude, I had some dude come up to me, laid hands on me. I was like, I'm open, ready to receive it, and he's like, dear Lord, like, Michael's really struggling right now, like, he's watching all this nasty porn, and I'm like, bro, like, I haven't watched porn in months, dude, like, so I was like, yo, please, bro, you gotta stop, like, you gotta beat it.
That kind of goes into, like, other people's, man, it's so tough.
Their spirituality and where they're at and they're like, I'm on fire, and they start rebuking demons and trying to exorcise you, and you're not.
And he's probably watching porn.
Exactly. Yeah. That's definitely some form of projection. Like, oh, like I'm struggling so bad, dude. Doing cocaine. I used to do a lot of cocaine. Right. He knows. Yeah. And bro, anytime somebody was like, I was like, oh, bro, they're doing cocaine too. Like that's so. It's the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
It's the exact same stuff.
People project.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Damn. You finished that cup.
Yeah.
That was the rest of it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's cool.
Bro, you want a water?
I know, right?
Before your fucking heart fucking
explodes.
Yeah, before your heart stops. So what do you think people should, I mean, if anyone's looking to, kind of find a path or, I don't know, dip into religion, right? Like it's some fucking, like, healthcare modality.
Yeah, I would say, anybody looking to, like, find something, I would say, that there's many ways. There's many ways to the Son of God, right? Like I found him through addiction. Some people might find him through anxiety, near-death experiences, yada yada.
Yeah.
So there's many ways to the Son, but from there's only one way to God, the Father, and that's through the Son. So at whatever you got to dibble dabble in, as long as it's involving Jesus, you're in the right vicinity, and then you just need to know that you can only go through him to get to God. So ultimately, anybody that's like, oh, like I'm struggling, I'm like, pray, see what's going on. So Paul, the apostle that wrote like a vast majority of the New Testament, he was an executioner for the Romans. Like he persecuted Christians and executed them, and where he wouldn't have considered himself lost at that time. He was on a path, right? He was on a path ordained by his God to do what he needed to do, and it wasn't until he got blinded on his road to Damascus by Jesus, and he was blind. He got blinded and he was like, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Ends up renaming him pretty much born again, if you would, your new name, which is a funny thing from Catholicism. That's why they give you a second middle name. It's symbolizing that, because Jesus pretty much renamed all of his posse. And he was like, yeah, I know your name is John, I'm going to call you Mark. I know your name's Saul, I'm going to call you Paul. He just renamed everybody.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's symbolic to, again, baptism, burying the old, and rising up with the new. That's what so the flood was a foreshadow, right? So the whole earth was submerged in water and then got cleansed again. And it was symbolizing that, okay, so God, we've seen what was going on. People were like looting, raping, killing each other all the time. The Bible says God saw evil all the time and no good. That's what was going on in the earth. So he flooded it, baptized it, brought it out, and that's where everything started back up again.
Yeah.
And then eventually, we still couldn't get stuff right. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's tough too, because people perceive God as this like loving being that's always there, but I also feel like there's a part of it where, when the world's acting up, God might throw a meteor at it, and he might be winding up right now.
Yeah. A lot of people think that like the God of the Old Testament was so much more wrathful.
Yeah.
Like, and that's dude, you will hear people that were Christians, are Christians, or want to be Christians. It's a common thing. You hear that all the time. The God of the Old Testament was so much more wrathful. And then you read like the Gospels and whatnot, and you see where like all that loving and passion is. But like, if you read the book of Revelations, like he destroys everything again. He hasn't mellowed out at all. Like he's still the same God. And a lot of that comes from jealousy. So like that's one of God's I don't want to call it an attribute, but more or less he's described himself as a jealous God. When we're worshiping idols and all this stuff like that, it sparks this jealousy, and that's where a lot of this is going to come into. Like,
well, if we're made in his image, I guess to a degree, we might have some of his attributes, because everyone feels jealousy.
Yeah. No, yeah, well, for sure. All the time. But the scripture actually says our God, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. It almost says it's his name, more or less. And it's Old Testament. It was in Exodus, I believe. Our God, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. And it's talking about like what's going on at that time. You know what I mean? Like he's bringing these commandments and all this stuff, and he comes down from Moses comes down from the mountain, and they're all like having orgies, like banging, worshiping the gold calf and all this stuff, and it's it's nuts.
Damn.
Yeah. No, he's a jealous God, dude, and that's why come Judgment Day, anyone who's not, then we take jealousy to the next level, and we see that anyone who's not following is pretty much assed out.
I think for me, as far as like Judgment Day and eternity goes, it's not even the aspect of like heaven and hell that freak me out. It's the aspect of eternity.
Right.
Because even if I'm in heaven forever, that to me feels like hell for some reason.
It's a long time. It's a long time. So you got to think, right? Like, so there's a heaven and there's a hell. let's say that's what you believe, 100%. What would make you want to go to either one? Like, if you, okay, like hell sounds like a good place, I want to go there. What would make you want to go there? Let's say heaven's your destination, you want to be there. What would make you want to be in heaven?
Yeah, following Jesus and
right. Like, why do you? So, and that's a common
paradise and
common misconception for Christians. Like, oh, I want to go to heaven because like I'll see my like family and I'll see my loved ones and I'll see all the people that died and I don't think it's stuff like that is keeping you in a good place, because I want to go to heaven because that's where Christ is.
Yeah,
that's where Jesus is. Like he came down from heaven, stepped off, died, rose again, and went back up there. And if I'm following him my whole life, I don't want to go to heaven because my dead relatives are there, or all the dogs that I ever loved are dead and up in heaven. I want to go to heaven because that's where the man I was just following my entire life is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that, being slightly confused about that aspect, that one little part, is going to prevent your access, but I think that's definitely a better mentality to establish if you're a Christian in the faith. And you're telling yourself, oh, I want to go to heaven because, all this and all that. No, like the Bible says it's going to be nonstop worship. That's the other thing. So, like, damn, not only am I going to be there for the rest of my eternity, I'm going to be kind of like on my knees the whole time. Like that's a tough concept. Like I'm going to be, you know what I mean? I'm going to be worshiping the same God that I was worshiping here on earth, except it's going to be nonstop in heaven.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the appealing part too about Christianity is that, like, in moments where you talk to Jesus, it almost feels like a brotherhood. It's like this dude really put himself on the cross for me.
Yeah.
I feel like there's such not even like a relatability, because I mean no one's no one's on that level, but there really is this like comfort that he really just did everything he possibly could for us,
Yeah.
So when you're like kind of talking to someone, it's like, damn, like that, it just feels like a brotherhood almost, like he really had my back. And yeah, it's interesting.
It is. No, it is definitely a brotherhood. That's one way to put it. A lot of people that are part of whatever church they're part of, they're like, it's all they have, some people, and they consider it more of a family. You know what I mean? You can say brotherhood, you can say family, whatever floats your boat in that matter. But it's the connection that makes everything real. Like I don't feel as much intimacy, like, and some people are vice versa. But like, if I were to just to go to church, let's say, and I was alone in the whole congregation, it was just me and the pastor, versus I go to church and it's me and a congregation full of people. Now I'm seeing like evidence. I'm seeing people with their hands in the air. I'm seeing people praising, praying, all this stuff. And I'm like this all feels real tangible right now. And then sometimes I'm just like, if I'm zoned in, and sometimes I do feel like I'm the only person in the room, and I'm struggling to focus. Like I'm getting distracted. I'm thinking about what I ate for breakfast. It's giving me heartburn, all this stuff. Like I'm thinking about that. Sure. But then there's other people in the room, and I'm like, okay, like I look around, like this is real. Like this dude was just smoking crack 3 weeks ago, and he's at church right now. Like he's not OD'd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seeing stuff like that is just. It's just real. It's tangible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's surreal. All right, we back. We back with some extra too.
Where'd your little cap go?
It's a great question. I don't fucking know. Girls, I need my cap. Oh wait, they're not fucking here.
Oh, that's what it was. It's the year of the dragon.
So this podcast is brought to you by Howell Smokes. Let's get it. Bang. Bunch of different products. The original goal when we created this was I would talk to a lot of people that were either trying to get off cigarettes or they were trying to stop smoking weed. And I remember when I was going through a time in my life where I mean, I just like smoking on something. There's just something about it, you know. So and I was going through some anxiety and some like sleep problems. So for me, it was like, let me find something that I'm not gonna trip balls on,
Right.
you know. And like that's when CBD was kind of making its
rounds.
Yeah, its wave. So I started smoking it, and I mean, my recovery in the gym was better.
Right.
I was sleeping better. When you smoke it, like when you smoke weed, dude, it's like when you smoke CBD, you feel so linear and content. So, and then when I went further into the research, it shows that it helps with addiction. Like if you're like, it helps with like hangovers. It can help with a nicotine addiction, with an alcohol addiction. So anytime like you want to smoke a cigarette, smoke some CBD. Anytime you want to smoke some actual weed, smoke some CBD.
Yeah.
You know, and for a lot of people, weed makes people so fucking lazy. Like it used to make me lazy. I used to eat like dog shit.
That or paranoid, especially if you're a new smoker.
Yeah,
you're just
true.
like it can be legal as shit, and you're like fucking always watching over your shoulder. So a lot of the medicinal properties of marijuana are still found in CBD.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're just not getting fucking bent.
The majority of the medicinal.
Yeah,
is in the CBD.
So if someone's claiming that they smoke, marijuana to relieve pain, like back,
it's not coming from the THC.
Right. It's coming from other things.
I think it does to a degree, but I think there's just more of the aspect that they're feeling high, which is making them
feel less pain.
Exactly.
Same concept of like, I got a cut on this hand, but I feel it less when I pinch myself on this arm.
Yeah.
Same thing. So I'm feeling something, so I'm feeling less of something else.
Yeah, there's an aspect of like there's a reason why there's not like THC creams. It's all CBD everything, you know?
Right.
Because,
yeah.
Like.
Or hemp.
And our body has CBD
receptors.
Yeah, like inside of it. So to a degree, it is meant to bind with. You know, I would love to come out with like a cigar. That'd be fucking ideal. And make a cigar with like tobacco mixed with CBD. The issue is that the research is a little mixed on it, where as far as like them binding to the same receptor, and they might fight for it. So it might be either a really good effect or like no effect at all.
Well, with if you're smoking CBD and THC at the same time, that's what happens, right?
CBD removes the THC and it can sober you up actually from THC.
That's crazy.
Yeah, every time I'm too drunk, if I smoke CBD, I feel better. And anytime I've ever been too high, it's
almost like Narcan, but for
but
for weed.
Bro, me and my girl probably a year ago, were on this like a few day thing of like smoking weed out just fucking randomly, which
really,
I'm not proud of because it makes me fucking lazy.
The most recent, okay.
And
when was that?
Like a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Bro, I got so fucking high that like you feel like your world is collapsing. You're like, yo, my heart's gonna stop. I gotta go to the hospital. I can't call the cops because they're gonna fucking know I'm high.
Yeah.
The only thing dude, I drove to the liquor store. I bought a bottle of wine. I chugged it. I was still high. The only thing that saved me was I was like,
CBD.
I was like, I own a fucking CBD company. I smoked CBD and I finally came down from it.
Really?
Oh man, it was
crazy.
It was so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, dude, the tolerance thing's crazy. Right now, no matter like I don't know, just because of the shit that I've done, I don't think there's like a certain amount of like. I mean, I probably could have a bad weed trip if I went a long, long time without smoking. But like, when you compare like the marijuana high to like the drugs I was doing, you almost like that's why like people who try to do the they call it marijuana maintenance program. Like, oh, I'm gonna stop drinking, I'm gonna stop doing cocaine, I'm gonna stop tripping balls, all this stuff, but I'm gonna smoke some weed. Like, it's like not.
Yeah.
It's not enough sometimes. Like I remember like trying to get sober, sit back smoking weed, and I'm like, damn, like I wish I was more fucked up than this. Like I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I'm not even fucked up at all. Like that's crazy mentality to have.
Yeah.
You know, you're clearly addicted. If you're like,
true.
If you're like, wow, I need to be more fucked up than this. Like I'm not fucked up enough. You know what I mean? Like that's something that people.
We've all been
you
there.
might be a little. You might be struggling at that. You know what I mean? Like unless that's the goal. You know what I mean? If your goal is to get fucked up, then that's great. But if you're just like chilling, hanging out, and having a good time, and you're like, oh, I'm not fucked up enough. Like that's a tough place. You know what I mean? So, but if that's the goal, that's the goal. Like, yeah, get fucked up. But
yeah, man,
you're just trying to chill and like do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like, man, smoking on something just feels, it's just enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
there's a degree that I know it's unhealthy, but also, if you're looking for a quick fix of anxiety, you're about to go on stage or like anything, this will get, like, by smoking something, it'll get to your bloodstream that much faster.
Yeah.
And you'll feel instantaneous effects.
Yeah. Yo, do they make carts?
What do you mean?
For CBD, do they make carts like the Cali Gold? Remember all that stuff? Smart pens.
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that'd be kind of cool, bro.
I feel like I'm getting this
fucking ash
everywhere besides the ash. So yeah, what have you tried that like is on some other shit? Like, have you tried any like hallucinogenics? Have you had experiences with that?
Yeah. Hallucinogenics don't really aren't out what like other people make them to be. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely waves and spectrums and all that stuff. So I've done it all. I mean, I've smoked DMT, I've done LSD, psilocybin, mushrooms.
What was the DMT like?
So the DMT is the most, as far as research goes. I don't know where it aligns with, but as far as DMT is the most like natural. Like I'm pretty sure it's derived from plants, certain plants. It's something that's going on inside plants, but your body already has a little bit of DMT.
Yeah, when you sleep,
it's the chemical that helps you produce your dreams, isn't it? Yeah. So, the most naturally occurring already in the body, the most naturally occurring like in like the world and coming out of the earth, whatever the case may be. But and in that, what it makes you experience is what's crazy. I should just put this whole thing in there, huh?
Yeah.
What it makes you experience in alignment with that is what people question about, like, oh, is there aliens? Is there this shit? Is there that shit? So the thing about smoking DMT is, so the first time I did it, I went to the store, I bought a brand new bong. And I was like, yo, I don't want no weed up in here or nothing. I want to make sure I'm getting pure DMT, so I bought a brand new bong. I took a hit and from the house in Connecticut. Yeah. I took a hit, and so that's the mistake. First, number one, you shouldn't be doing it alone. You're supposed to be doing it with somebody else. And they're
shaman,
and they're actually supposed to coach you potentially and do a second hit if you didn't get a good enough first hit. And that's what makes you experience your trip. So I took a hit, and I ran out the crib. And I ran with the bong in my hand, and I ran to the water, and I hummed that shit, yeah. And then I ran back up the hill and back into the crib, and I was like, all right, I'm good. So I fucked up. Second time, I did it by myself again, but as soon as I blew out, I went again, and I fell back in the bed in the blue room, and I seen this like obelisk like type figure, dude. It was weird. It as far as like spiritual, like I don't know. I mean, shit. Nowadays, I'd say more demonic than anything. You know what I mean? Because I don't really like currently, I don't believe what I saw then. Like it, like in a positive way, in a negative way, sure. Like it, yeah. Like I don't know. It was a premonition of hell, is how I would see it now. Yeah, right. But then it's like, but back then, like not knowing about Christianity, I'm like,
I love when you say like obelisk, like all the people that have played Yu-Gi-Oh or watched Yu-Gi-Oh. This fucking. Like, you know what the motherfucking obelisk is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually also a terminology for stone. Like geode type structure, you know what I mean? Tall, black, opaque, stuff like that. But yeah, so DMT was definitely the most that I like seen stuff on, and then shrooms and LSD is like LSD is more like slightly impaired. Shrooms will make you like hallucinate. You're getting food poisoning is what you're doing. You're giving yourself food poisoning when you eat psilocybin. So I've definitely hallucinated off shrooms, but LSD has always been more just like wavy and whatnot. But either way, it's not real. You know what I mean? Like you have to do something to feel that. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I know there are certain like meditative states that it can give people similar effects to DMT, and they can produce DMT in their brain from certain like meditative states. So
yeah,
that's always interesting.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I've heard of that.
So, you think that this like being that you saw when you were on DMT was kind of fake, or are you afraid that it might have been real?
No, I think it was
a different dimension, because we don't. I think it's been proven that like our eyes only see 5% of the actual spectrums and dimensions that are around us.
Yeah.
So is there a degree where you're like?
Yeah, I think it could have been real, or it could have just been the fact that like I have a human brain that wasn't meant to be on something, and I experience as something. But no, it very well could have been real. But as far as like how you define real, like for me and what I believe in, it could have been real, but it wasn't. Before Christ, it was more of an experimental curiosity. Like, I think this might be another being from another dimension. Makes me want to look up at the sky at nighttime and look at the stars and shit. But now it's like it's the exact opposite. I'm like, that's of the devil. It's like, not to sound like, Bobby Boucher's mom, but like, that shit was the devil.
But I feel like a lot of people that could potentially be like an atheist or a non-believer could do something like ayahuasca or DMT and then become spiritual afterwards.
And have and you see that often in like people that even smoke weed or have like a near death experience, like they had like a seizure or something like that, and it's like. And
Me or you?
I think it was. Yeah, it must have been you.
No.
Yeah, it must have been you. Hulu. Yeah, right? I don't even know where mine is. Is it you? What happened?
Oh, nothing.
Oh. Well, it's good, bro.
Idiots. You both are fired. Nah. I hit them up earlier saying that I was having an emergency podcast, and they just sent me a video of them. So they're in the same dorm room, and they were like, "We're in bed." And she was like, "It sent me a video."
Oh, that's funny.
Idiots! You both are fired.
What, at college?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It's too fucking funny. So I've been sitting here just fucking struggling on my own. Like, they could have been fucking packing this shit for us like the whole 9. So, like, I want another one now. Yeah. They're so fire.
But yeah, so as far as those drugs, which is funny because they're the least addictive, like ones that are like making you see stuff, like as far as DMT, mushrooms.
Yeah, DMT like actually is the fastest dissolving drug in the body.
Yeah,
like,
you can't test.
You sober up so fucking quick from it. They say.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be high 1 second, and the next you're.
Yeah, it's pretty out of it. Yeah. You know what's crazy is that its remnants in your body disappear very, 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 very fast, but they stay in your brain for a lot longer. Is LSD? I heard traces of all LSD in like every way, except from a spinal tap, disappear within 2 hours of. Dude, crazy thing about LSD. If you've ever done LSD at any point in your life ever, you can't join the Air Force, because when they do a spinal tap and they can see that shit. But there's a reason, because at a certain altitude, LSD is actually stored in your spinal column, and at a certain altitude, it can release, and you can start tripping while you're flying a plane.
Interesting.
So that's why you can't. They can do a spinal tap, and they can find out you did like cocaine and you did all this other stuff, and they don't really give a fuck.
People been like microdosing LSD and shit like that.
Yeah, they say. So the psilocybin from mushrooms, they say, is actually an anxiety and depression reset. Like, it's almost like you're born again into this like new X, Y, or Z type shit. Oh, I just got confused.
It happens. But yeah, that's not my phone. That's actually buzzing. That's you, big dog.
Yeah, gotta handle something.
It happens, Brody.
It's good, though. That's not even the phone that was going off, either. That was over there.
Oy. He has risen. On the third day, he rose again?
Yeah. Oh, yo, that's crazy. So,
It's good.
all right, so...
Yeah.
All right.
Feel you.
So you know what the Sabbath is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what day the Sabbath is?
Sunday?
A lot of people would think so.
On
A lot of people would think, right? But it's actually Saturday, right? Sunday was the day he rose again. So he gets executed on Friday.
Damn, bro. You just...
What?
You be saying some shit. You be saying some shit like that just so nonchalant.
What? Executed.
Yeah. Like even earlier today, you were like, yeah, she about to croak.
Oh yeah, that was a little raw though. Earlier, that was a little raw.
Hey,
yeah.
like so, he got marked on a Friday.
Yeah,
and
no,
then...
he did. Yeah, so he got yoked up on Friday, and then Saturday he's dead, and he rises on Sunday. So he spends 3 days dead. So biblically, Friday from sundown till Saturday sundown is the Sabbath.
Okay.
So really, you view that as the entirety of Saturday because it was nighttime on Friday. Now you're spending Saturday morning into Saturday night. So sundown Friday till sundown Saturday is the Sabbath. He died on Friday. He was dead Saturday, and he rose on Sunday. So yes, he was dead all 3 of those days. But the only 24-hour day, and you know what Sabbath you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to rest. You're not supposed to work.
Yeah.
So some people, your Sabbath might be Tuesday. Some people it's Sunday. Some people it's Saturday. Now hear this, right? The only full 24-hour period that he was actually dead was Saturday, and it was the Sabbath, and he rested. He was just dead the whole time. He literally did nothing. He followed his own teaching. He followed his own instruction, which is crazy. And yeah, he died on Friday. He rested all the whole time on Saturday, and then rose again on Sunday.
Damn.
So a lot of people think too, like, all right, so where did Jesus go when he died? Where do you think he went? Or do you think he just died?
I think he might have just been sleeping with one eye open.
Like he never actually fully...
he
had to fully die. That's the thing.
I feel like part of him was dead, but he was also like, he was still peeking a little bit.
He was still peeking? Well, yeah, he's omnipresent. If Jesus is God incarnate and in the flesh, then he's also God. He's 100% man. He's 100% God. But because he was 100% man, he did fully die.
Okay.
But, okay, so let's say, right, he comes from heaven down to earth and then dies. Does he go back up to heaven while he's dead and then 3 days later come back down? To go back up again? Because later he goes back up.
I feel like he went to Six Flags or something, bro.
No. So,
I don't know.
He went to hell.
Damn.
He went to hell. Do you know why he went to hell? Because the moment he died, he bore all of our sin on the cross, and that's what sent him to hell, was all of our sin. And that's where all of our sin would take us if we don't accept him, right? So he bears all of our sin. He says it on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me? It wasn't that God wasn't there. It's that God takes no part in sin. God and sin are two separate things. They're never in the same room together, per se, if that analogy helps you. So, my God, why have you forsaken me? He says it in another language. The translation of it sounds a little repetitive. He takes all of our sin, he dies, and he goes to hell. And what does he do while he's there? Revelations, I believe it's 2:12, says that, behold, I have risen and I have the keys of death and Hades. So he went into hell and he took the keys. And then he rose back up again. So the reason why, and you think about it too, you think about like if you were to draw a diagram. So Jesus comes from heaven, he dies on earth, he goes back up to heaven, and then he comes down again 3 days later just to go, and then he was with the disciples for 30 days or 60, 90 days before he went back up again. 40 days. He was with his disciples for 40 days before he rose back up into heaven. And it would make no sense. It'd be too much of this. So, but it's a full cycle. See, he comes from heaven. He steps off the throne is what he does. He's God. Jesus is God. Same thing. 100% man, 100% God. So he steps off the throne, comes down to earth. 33 years later, he dies, goes down to hell. comes back up, 40 days later goes back up to heaven. So it's like this rather than this.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. So Revelations 2:12 talks about he has the keys to death and Hades. So he went down and took the keys. Imagine like demons in hell. Like you see like this, like it's little Nicky. It's little Nicky going on in there. There's a spiral staircase that's
shout
going
out little
down.
Nicky. That movie's goated.
Yeah. And coming down the staircase is this crazy light. Like that's like a hell. Like that would make a crazy like play or like a movie scene, dude. Like him actually going in there and just like bodying Satan out of the paint, grabbing the keys and coming back up and saying pretty much.
If we're made in his image to a degree, do you think there is an aspect of us that could also rise out of hell?
So we're made in his image, like physically, but like spiritually, we're not one with him. You know what I mean? Like he's our creator. Like we don't really like. We're not like that. So
I feel like there's a relation. Like
you're there for eternity, is what I'm trying to say. So like, if you do get sent to hell, like you're shit out of luck. Like there's no escape.
I don't know. I want to believe that there's an aspect or like a realization that you can have in hell that could maybe make you ascend up.
I think that's the point of hell, is that you are there and you are realizing it, but it's not going to change anything.
Damn.
Yeah.
That feels like Earth sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if you're really stuck in some shit, that really feels like Earth.
You're not getting out of it. Yeah.
You're like,
stuck.
yo, I know the other way, but I'm like, I just can't do better right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. There was a vision. They were given a parable in the New Testament, and it was somebody in hell having a conversation with somebody in heaven through like a middleman, and in the parable or the analogy, he was saying like tell people, like tell all my friends and all my family that like hell's real, and they need to, and they're like, it's too late. you can't tell anybody anything anymore. Like we have a chance right now in our life to like I definitely want my kids to follow this. You know what I mean? And let's say you're a skeptic, you know, whatever. Well, worst comes to worst, then they die just like the rest of us. Okay, then we die. But like, I'd rather of them have like known this, followed this. Like, I'm glad they didn't get baptized. I don't think they would. You're not gonna go to hell for it. But like, I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't get baptized. And in like 10 years, when they start to realize the significance of burying the current, who knows what kind of path they're gonna go down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we all struggle with some form of sin that we have to bury anyway. So. Who knows what kind of path they're going to go down, but at some point they're going to realize that, like, I want to put behind this old life and take on this new.
Yeah.
This new.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, to a degree, human beings are, I don't know, like, intrinsically programmed to want to believe in something.
Yeah.
And when you have nothing to believe in, your life is pretty much utter fucking chaos.
Yeah, and that's that. And I definitely think that that's God, and what people do with it is where we go wrong. Like, that natural curiosity is instilled in us. Dude, it takes more faith to believe the possibility that there is no God than to accept the possibility that there is one. You know what I mean? Like, you know how, like, you think about creation as a whole, like, everything, the way we breathe air that the trees just produce, and then we breathe out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, whatever they need. Like, it's made perfect. Like if the Earth was like a mile closer to the sun, we'd be fucked. If it was a mile further, we'd be fucked. Like, we're in the Goldilocks zone, and stuff like that is just it literally, it takes more faith to say like there is no God than to accept the possibility that there is one. Like when you think about all the stuff that's just placed so perfectly. Yeah.
I mean, even look at like our bodies. When we cut, we heal.
Right.
Fucking digestion. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. It's all too, it's too perfect. And then, like, I remember trying to explain this to somebody one time. They got me tight. I was explaining about how perfect creation is. And they're like, I take a shit and it smells. That's not perfect. I was like, damn, like, yeah, you kind of got me, but like, yeah, it is. It's still, it's still perfect. Like, that's the beauty of shit. Like, the fuck, that's crazy. Like, if you didn't do that, you know what I mean? You couldn't live. Like, that's beautiful.
A prime example, right? Like, bro, shit smells. But fucking. I
did think about that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But
Stupid.
I remember I was chilling with Paul, and he had a viral infection, and he lost his sense of smell.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in front of a garbage and we were in front of a garbage truck. I was like, bro, that shit stinks. And like he looked at me and he got teary eyed and he was like, bro, I wish I could smell it. But it like it was so true. It's like like that like goes to like even though it smelled like shit to me, he hadn't smelled anything in literally months.
And he wish he could smell it.
And he was like, I wish I could smell that shit.
I wish I could smell it.
So it's like it really depends on your perspective of it, because like back to your point of shit being beautiful smelling, you know, it really is just, I just think if people become so jaded by existence and like the normal like monotony of getting up, brushing your teeth, taking a shit, oh it stinks, let me spray, like there's so much beauty in everything around us and in such simple moments, and we just fall short of appreciating that, you know?
Yeah, it's too like, creation as a whole is just it's way too complex.
Yeah, for us to comprehend.
To think that it all just like I do think that there was a point where the universe exploded into existence.
Yeah.
But I just cracked my jaw. That shit was probably mad loud. But I believe it was him that exploded it. You know what I mean? I think those can see. The interesting thing about science is it's kind of like it's always been a little bit behind. It's just catching up to what God has already done. And it's really, that's how I define science. It's the study of what God has already done, and we're just kind of catching up and realizing it, you know?
Yeah, man, that shit's so wild. I could go like on and on about God, space. And
yeah.
It's crazy. Do you believe that the Earth is flat or round?
It's round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's round.
Do you believe that?
Flat things can't exist in space. Because they can't. No, because flat things can't orbit. That's how space works. Like we orbit around the sun, and if we were flat, we couldn't orbit around the sun.
Well, let's say that the sun's fake too. Like you see these like pictures that like come out where like it shows like the fucking spotlights inside of the sun and shit.
Yeah.
Or like what's another one? Or that like we ever went to the moon? You didn't go to the moon?
It's possible that we didn't go when they said we did, but eventually we did.
Yeah, there's definitely like an aspect of.
Yeah, I definitely think it's possible that maybe not the moon landing, or I think some moon landings were definitely fake, but there are real ones. I mean, like we're on the moon right now. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, we're on fucking Mars right now. You know what I mean? Like that's a fact. Like Elon ain't lying to us.
Yeah.
We know what's going on.
Nah, he's a G. Nah, yeah.
He's keeping it real.
He's a fucking G.
Yeah, so if we're on Mars, we're on the fucking moon. It's a lot closer.
Well, we're not on Mars. There's robots on Mars.
Right. Yeah, I mean humans in general.
Yeah. Yes.
Like we've physically achieved
stuff we control.
Yes,
is on
Mars. Yeah. No, not yet. Not on Mars yet. That'll be crazy, dude.
Bro, what are you having? An adenosine rush?
Me right now?
Yeah.
Oh, feeling tired? Yeah. No, I honestly, dude, I get like a very satisfying feeling of from yawning. Like it's almost like a relief. Like it's an itch I'm scratching.
You do that.
Like yawning, the peak of a yawn feels so good. It's weird. So like sometimes I intentionally like start a yawn and I'm like, and I don't get a full yawn, and I'm like, damn, like I wish that shit was a full yawn.
Interesting. You know, yawning is just your body telling you that there's not enough oxygen in your brain, and it's just trying to force air in.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I'm just not getting enough oxygen.
You probably got a fucking deviated septum or something.
That's crazy. Doesn't that just mean broken nose?
I got a deviated septum, bro. It's bad. Like this nostril, I don't breathe out of.
Really?
It's only this side.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, that never even happened to me after all the cocaine I did.
Yeah, bro, it sucks.
Oh man,
it's tough.
Bro, I remember one time being on it for so long when you had all the issues. Because I remember this, I remember you using like the neti pot. You went through a little phase of that. Like you always had stuff going on in your nose. And I remember when I was getting high, I'm like, damn, like I wonder if I should talk to Pat because like he's getting high too. And but it was, dude, it had nothing to do with behavior. It was just like, it was just what you had going on in your sinuses. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad I never said nothing.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking about, bro?
This shit's crazy, bro. Fucking hell. This has been dope, though, bro.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Just gonna chop it up. I should have just went live with it. I think I'm just gonna start going live.
Fuck it. I mean, it'll definitely be a little more noticeable. I mean, as far as like emotionally for like the people and me and us. We the people.
Yeah, I think
we the people.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I think that it's just like I'm all about just like raw authenticity, and I just feel like going live is just
how to do it.
Yeah, bro. You just fucking shoot it. People tune in. They see all the fucking smoke break. Fuck it. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah.
Like they gotta wait 10 minutes. You know, it's like it just is what it is.
Yep.
Some might tune off, but then it's just it's out there.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I just think it's just probably fair. That goes into like not wanting to do it. You're like, oh, what if I say some dumb shit I can't?
Right, I can't take back. I ruined my career before it starts.
Yeah, I think that I might just start shooting my shit fucking live, bro.
Fuck it.
That just seems like the best fucking route. Thing.
Wait, so if yawning's giving your brain more oxygen, then why is it contagious?
There's a social aspect of it. I don't know, like in psychology, like your brain sees someone else doing it and it feels left out, basically. It's fucking brain's bitch made, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like an instinctual form of peer pressure.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy, right?
It's just built in.
Yeah.
I see. So, I'm doing it. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's how addiction be too. If you're a cigarette smoker, and you see somebody else smoking a cigarette, you're like, oh.
Yeah, time to light up.
Right, yeah.
Alright, man, we off.
Yeah.